Hello, YouTubers out there. This is Jerry Saravia at the movies. So, a couple of days ago, there was an announcement that there was going to be the Exorcist Trilogy. Uh, three new movies, and it will be a direct sequel to the original. Geez, where have we heard this before? Well, coming from Blumhouse Entertainment, we've heard this before with regards to Halloween. Now, as you know, the new Halloween movies are a trilogy, and they're a direct sequel to the original Halloween film, ignoring part two, three, four, all the other ones that came afterwards. With The Exorcist, I think this guy, the screenwriter, whose name escapes me at this second, uh, said, well, we're not ignoring the other Exorcist movies. I love them all. Well, here's the thing. The original Exorcist, which came out in 1973, written by William Peter Blatty, based on his book, is such a great supernatural horror film. I mean, I pretty much will say it's the definitive supernatural horror film. That still scares me, it moves me. It's really quite an extraordinary picture with a lot going on in it. So we're not going to get into all that because I've gotten into that before, 20 plus years ago when the film was re-released in theaters. I think it still works a nerve. It's just something that feels it's very intense, and it's really hard to beat Linda Blair in that role. Because today, you really couldn't even do that film today. Not certainly about not a 13-year-old girl and what she does with her crucifix when she's possessed by the devil. So now the sequels. So we had Exorcist II, which some people seem to like, including Martin Scorsese, who for some reason favors it, from what I understand, over the original, although the original is the only one that's in his 30, 40, 50, I don't know how many best list, a list of best movies of all time. But it was a film that was laughed at back in 1977 because it's ridiculous. The whole movie is ridiculous. It's insanely dumb and badly done. And Ellen Burstyn didn't even bother to appear, playing the mother of Reagan, played, of course, by Linda Blair, who, of course, appeared in Exorcist II. Since then, Linda Blair has not appeared in any Exorcist movie. That's good. Same thing with Ellen Burstyn. Now, so it was laughed off the screen, that picture. But some people still have some regard for it. I don't know why. Despite the pedigree of the director, John Berman, it's a terrible film. I mean, it's just... I even tried to watch it again. So I saw it back in the day on television. I didn't see that in theaters. And, there's really not much that can be said. Now, Exorcist III is based again on a book by William Peter Blatty, which is a sequel. And the book is called Legion, which is very good book. Long, but exceptionally good. Very well written. The book is better than the movie, and from what I understand, there's even a director's cut, which I may or may not check out someday, that at least encompasses some of the views, the original vision, I should say, that William Peter Blatty, who directed The Exorcist III, I might add, in addition to writing the screenplay, had in mind. The movie is fine for what it is. It's certainly a huge improvement over Exorcist II. So after 1990, when the film was not necessarily a big box office hit, it was assumed the days of Exorcist were over until 24 years later, when you had two different Exorcist movies. One done by Paul Schrader, which is kind of dull, called Dominion, prequel to The Exorcist. I didn't really care for the picture at all. But it does have Stellan Skarsgård, who is exceptionally good as a priest who's lost his faith. I mean, well, what else is new? And this was, of course, a prequel. It was the priest as Father Merrin. So he did a good job. Dominion, though, is a much better film than Exorcist, the Exorcist for the Beginning, which was the first one to be released, even though both were kind of, it's one of those strange things that does happen in Hollywood occasionally. Dominion was a film shot and edited and almost ready for release until they decided, you know what, we don't like what Paul Schrader did. He didn't make a scary movie. They chose Rennie Harlan, who's not a bad director, but he just failed badly, I thought, with Exorcist the Beginning. So Exorcist the Beginning came out in 2004, and I think that film did okay, I'm not sure, at the box office. Dominion barely got much of an audience, and that was released a year later. So again, I thought, well, this was now 16 years ago. Exorcist, it was over. No more Exorcist. We're done. But then there was an Exorcist TV series, and now there's this announcement. So my feeling is, you know what? I'm not one to make a habit anymore of criticizing something that hasn't been released yet, because it's not fair. Who knows? This guy may come up with something good. I think his name is Green. David Green, something of that nature. David Gordon Green. But it's really hard to beat the original picture. And the reason is because it wasn't just a traditional supernatural horror film, not by any stretch of the imagination. It was really a film about examining faith, and the faith to heal and to recognize one's faith, especially in the presence of evil. And it did it so well with such great actors that it's really hard for me to even fathom continuing this series, because the standard was set. I never understood the need for so many sequels to this movie. The one aspect that I find fascinating is that Ellen Burstyn actually is returning. She's playing, I guess, the role of Reagan's mother. So that would make sense. I mean, if you're going to do this film, I always thought, why didn't they make a movie about Reagan in her 50s now, or an older Reagan, and how she looks back on what happened, and what has traumatized her, what memories have been dug up. But that would be more of a psychological film than a thriller, and it wouldn't necessarily be full of gore. You'd be doing more of a character study, and perhaps there isn't really much of an interest in that, per se. I don't know. But that's what I thought was always a good idea. And the fact that they never did it tells me they were never really interested in going that route anyway. That is, to bring back those characters from the original film. But they're bringing back Ellen Burstyn, so who knows? There is probably some hope there. But making it into a trilogy, I don't understand why that has to be. Somebody on Twitter pointed that out. Why does everything have to be a trilogy? I don't know. It's a good question. I don't understand why you announce a new movie, but it has to be a trilogy to something that is a beloved, I guess you could call it a franchise, although not very successful one, the Exorcist movies. But maybe they at least are not remaking the original. Thank God for that. So that was always a fear. And there was discussion of that before. So, I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Tell me your thoughts on it. Do you think this is a good idea? Do you think it's a good idea bringing back Ellen Burstyn? Does that excite you? Does this have to be a trilogy? Let me know your thoughts, please. And we'll do more videos very soon. This is Jerry Saravia at the Movies, signing off.